Good evening. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Pastelli? Here. Mrs. Billings? Here. Mr. Sirianni will be absent for workshop. Dr. Sally?
Here.
Mr. Pallone?
Here.
And I hereby certify that this meeting has been published in the newspapers in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act and posted as required by law.
Okay, so we have 5 items on the agenda this evening. I'm going to go through them, but I'm going to change the order from the way it's written. So basically, the order we're going to do is, first is going to be no parking on Morris Avenue with Acting Chief Roebuck. Then we're going to do Renwick Place paving with Mr. Hayes, a Housing Authority agreement, pre-employment testing also with Mr. Hayes. And then we're going to move on to a presentation with the Stavola project in front door. Mr. McNamara, Mr. Ballou, and Mr. Violanda. And finally, we're going to have a review of the regular meeting agenda. So, Chief Roebuck, you want to start with no parking on Morris,
Sure.
please?
So as you can see up there, this is on Morris Avenue. The tenant of the building has been complaining that people coming in and out are having a hard time. People are parking right there. They can't see pulling in and out of the parking lot. And with people coming off of Broadway, people come around that turn pretty quickly. We just want to post no parking there, change the ordinance and paint the curbs yellow.
There's an ingress here and an egress here, and people park in the middle and too close to the driveway, and they've had a number of close calls there and a couple of fender benders. So it's a professional office space. Mike Irene's office is in there, and Dr. Rioli's in there. So they had asked us to present it to council. So traffic looked at it. This was a recommendation to present to you guys for your approval. If you're good with it, then we'll submit it in ordinance form next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, you're fine, Joy. Dr. Selly?
I'm fine.
Okay, I'm good with it. Thanks, Kevin. So we'll move on to Renwick Place.
So Renwick Place is really a pretty simple issue. There's a development that was approved in here, the name escapes me, something Landing. Kelly Developers is building 12 or 13 condominiums. They've begun construction, actually constructed the first building. As part of their approval from the Zoning Board of Adjustment, required them to widen and repave Renwick Place in front of their project, which would be from here to here. We have Renwick Place on our 2017 road program, which we already went out to bid for and awarded. So the engineer met with them, priced it out, and we would do, the city's contractor would do the work, and they would pay us the cost of it, which is $40,000. So it's very simple. There's a resolution on for your consideration tonight to allow us to have Kelly Builders pay us the $40,000 and have our contractor that we awarded the project to do the work.
Is the contract for all of Renwick Pipe?
Our paving contract is all of Renwick
All of
Place
Renwick.
and Marine Place as well.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so they're just gonna pay for that portion for the.
They're gonna pay for the portion they're required to pay for in their Zoning Board of Adjustment resolution.
Good.
Okay. Dr. Selly,
Yes.
you good with this?
I'm listening and I hear you.
Okay, so you're fine. The resolution is on for this evening, so you're okay with it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I am as well. And Kevin, the Housing Authority agreement?
So Carl Jennings was approached by the Housing Authority to do pre-employment drug testing. We currently, that's the only remaining thing that we do in the Recreation and Human Services Division. As you know, Peter Struben retired, and we had sent that over to Monmouth Medical, all the other issues from our EAP. So the only thing that we still do is pre-employment drug screening for our employees. They're asking us to do it for them. Carl is going to price out the cost of each kit, the time for the person to do it, and then he would come up with a contract. We just want to make sure it's okay with you before we go to the trouble of.
Who did they test?
We would do it for the housing.
Excuse me?
We would do it for them.
We would do it for the Housing Authority, yeah, right at the Bucky James Center.
Who did they test, that I was gonna ask, in the Housing Authority? Did they test people that are gonna work for them only, or did they test residents? How does?
No, as far as I know, it's only pre-employment. There was some discussion about doing random drug testing for existing employees, but that creates some liability that we don't want to take on, and I don't think we're actually our person's not certified to do it. So ours would strictly be for pre-employment drug screening.
Pre-employment employees for only the city, right?
I didn't understand what she said.
She said only for the city employees.
Oh, it's only for
No, no.
the housing authority.
We currently do the city employees, Dr. Selly. This is the housing authority is asking us to do their new employees, and they want to pay us the cost to do it.
Oh, okay.
It's fine.
You good with this?
Yeah,
Dr. Selly, you're good?
Good.
I'm fine.
So we'll draft up a contract and get it to you in the next, either the next meeting or the meeting after.
Okay, great. Okay, and
And
now
do
we
you
have,
think we could have a breakdown from Carl as to how much each individual would be, or how much it does cost?
Sure, absolutely. That's going to be the basis of our charge, so it'll be per person, so you'll know in the contract what it is.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
if no other questions, we have a presentation for the Stavola project at Beachfront North. Mr. McNamara, you're here.
Thank you, Council President. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Pat McNamara from Scorinci Hollenbeck here with Gary Villalonga on behalf of Stavola, and Eric Blue from Inside Engineering, who will give you a brief walkthrough of the proposal. As you're probably aware, last year the design guidelines for various redevelopment areas of the city were amended, including Beachfront North, where this project is located. It's a slight downsizing in that the original contemplated design was for a 14-lot subdivision, and after extensive work with our architects and rethinking the marketplace a little bit, we felt the better approach would be to go down to a 12-lot subdivision, but then come in with a slightly larger type of product, one that's got a lot of balconies and built-in, not traditional open space of being green space, but space that's available for the residents to be there and to enjoy the climate and the comfort of having nice long porches and porticos as part of the building design.
Do you want them set up there, John, or somewhere else?
Yeah, actually, could you come up here? That'd be great, thank you.
Pat, you were telling us that you met with our planning department.
Yes, we've had ongoing discussions with Mr. Turner. He's been very gracious in giving us time and his thoughts, and greatly appreciate his input and guidance and direction that he's been giving to us as we've been moving the project and as the designs have evolved.
And you also had an informal before the planning board as well.
Yes.
On the 1st of November.
Excellent. So the exhibit I have here is just an existing conditions exhibit. It shows Seaview Avenue, it's the end of the promenade, and then we have Seven Presidents Park to the north. So right now, there's 4 existing lots. This photo actually shows the 2 homes that were there that have been taken down. So right now, the entire site is cleared. So there's 4 lots, about 1.3 acres. And you can see here at the terminus of the end, basically it's a big area of pavement with a bunch of gore striping and things of that nature. So we're gonna look to improve on that. So this is the proposed exhibit, which shows the 12-lot subdivision for single-family homes. And besides doing the improvements on the properties, we're also going to be making quite a few public improvements to the adjacent streets. So instead of having just that gore striping at the end, we're coming in and actually doing a Belgian block raised area here with a star type design, compass type design made out of pavers and actually cobblestone as well. So it'll give a great element at the terminus of Seaview Avenue. To further do improvements within the roadways, right now on Ocean Avenue, you'll see there's brick paver crosswalks at all the different intersections. But when you get to the north, they don't exist at this time. So our proposal is to come in and do full intersection improvements between Ocean Terrace and Ocean Avenue North in this area, complete that, as well as even add another crosswalk near the end of the promenade. Other elements that we're going to take care of is right now on Seaview, there's overhead wires there. And then they have the wood pole lights with just the cobra heads with the wires on there. We're proposing to take down those wires on both sides as needed and come in with decorative light fixtures to replace them. And then all the utilities from this point here where our project begins those will all be underground utilities. So we'll get rid of all the unsightly wires and poles and come in with a more of a direct street view. Also too, landscaping improvements. You know, we are building up against the promenade, so there was a lot of discussions of buffering that. So we are coming in with heavily landscaped area right along this eastern property line between Ocean Avenue North and the promenade as well. So there's basically 4 good streetscape items that we're going to do to not only make it better for the residents, but clean up the whole area and make it a better place. One thing when we did this redesign, we are adjusting the lot lines to accommodate it. So what that does require, you'll see little areas here and here. So it actually requires vacation of right-of-way. So it's about 1,000 square feet of right-of-way that will be vacated and combined into the project. And we did that to make sure to adjust the lot lines to conform with the actual physical roadway improvements. It's about 1,000 feet, so it's about 0.02 acres that would be required to dedicate from the city to this project to make it happen. Regards to the subdivision overall.
Keep it going.
No, keep going? In regards to the 12 lot subdivision, overall it's very compliant. Again, we could have put in 14, we only put in 12. But we do have a couple items of relief. Ocean Avenue North is supposed to be a 20-foot setback. This odd-shaped lot here creates a situation where we have 16 foot of setback. This lot here, as you can see, is also a very irregular lot to accommodate the turning movements for emergency vehicles. So there we have a little bit of a decrease of setback from 10 feet to 9, and also the lot depth. It's 105 feet on one side, but it's much narrower on the other. So we have about a 76-foot lot depth situation where 98 is required throughout the whole area. And even though this needs a little bit of relief, the lot actually is oversized. The minimum lot size is 4,000 square feet. This is 5,000 square feet, so it's really 25% bigger than the other lots, but it has a couple of needs of relief based upon the irregularity of the lot.
How many, are there gonna be garages?
There are, so there'll be 1-car garages with also the ability to park 1 car within the driveway.
So there'll be 2 for every car?
2 for every unit, as well as when we have on-street parking, as well as reserving the on-street parking on the opposite side of Seaview.
Because I know that area, the parking has been
Been a
all
challenge. So that's it from like the general subdivision layout.
What you said about the street parking?
Definitely. So we are going to have street parking in between each of the lots, so there'll also be a lot in front of, a parking space in front of each of the homes as well.
That'd be public parking.
That'll be public parking, because the 2 spaces per unit will be met on everyone's property to meet the requirements.
So what you need from the council is an approval to vacate that 0.2 acres of area.
Correct. Ultimately, we'll need that. I don't think we're requesting that for this evening. I think that'll be through formal ordinances that we would provide.
That's part of the developer's agreement,
That's
John.
right.
That's all inclusive in the developer's agreement.
How many feet is it between each home?
About 10 feet, so they're 5-foot setbacks, so they're 10 feet to be compliant with the redevelopment guidelines.
The 2 waivers are de minimis, and the planning board didn't have any issue with granting those slight setback waivers on those 2 properties.
And then the lot depth as well, we can talk about that as well.
But we spent a fair amount of time working with them to try to come up with the best design, and this is the end result of it.
The 2 lots on the west, the 2 smaller, more narrow lots, 40 foot, we could have built, we removed 1 lot from each street, so you can see how the homes set up a little bigger, a little wider. But the zoning would have permitted 2 extra lots. We eliminated those to have a better product for the homes, wider floor plates. So.
And also, so we're buying, these are gonna be very nice homes, so even the driveways, we're proposing as paper driveways and things like that as well, to try to make it even more nice.
What's the time frame for construction once you have the approval?
That will vary in part on the marketplace, because these are being built customized and not being all built at once and then being marketed and sold. So hopefully within a year to 18 months, we'll have the bulk of them sold and under construction. Certainly we can do all of the requisite infrastructure improvements and the right-of-way improvements up front. And we'll cover that in the redevelopment agreement that Mr. Beckelman and I have already started working on, so we can address and resolve any concerns the city would have, that all the necessary infrastructure and utility work gets done up front.
You looking
As
to get
part-
on for the next meeting for the developers agreement?
We should be, when's your next meeting? 28th?
And then you want to be on the planning board meeting in December?
That's what we were aiming for. Mr. Turner asked us to make an initial submission to have the application deemed a major subdivision at the upcoming meeting, so that then we could notice and file formal, with the hope of being on the December agenda for the planning board. And we would envision this really only taking one evening and, if at most, an hour's worth of testimony before the planning board.
It's pretty good, right?
So the
They,
plan
they
is to,
have, they have them on the planning board for this month.
That's
For
for
the
the, that's for the subdivision
The
determination.
Oh, that's
You
the
have a provision in your
subdivision, okay.
ordinance that requires your boards to vote to deem major versus minor, and then docket for hearing.
Okay,
It'll come back the following meeting in December.
okay.
so is the plan to build one model or two models first and then go from there?
No, we intend, the plan is to get the approvals, do all the required site work, utility work, get everything cleaned up, curbs, sidewalks, crosswalks, utilities delivered to each site. And then because we're really setting the market here, very expensive, high-quality homes, we expect to, kind of not blow the market like K-Hub did. We're looking for, special buyer who's gonna appreciate this type of home. So we probably won't spec a home, we'll wait till we have a buyer. And we're also, talking to a couple of very high-end builders as a joint venture partner. We usually build shopping centers and office buildings mostly, so we don't build a lot of homes. So we're looking at various partners to come and help us with this.
What's the square footage of like the larger homes, or what's
The largest home is about 4,000 square feet. The smallest home, I think, is about 3,100 square feet. And we anticipate starting the smaller ones on those two lots to the west, somewhere around $1.6 million, $1.7 million, going up to almost $3 million on the end. They're gonna be really gorgeous homes. The idea is we noted that, the location is good enough, and we think building 12 of these really nice homes will attract some very well-qualified buyers who want to have a beautiful house down the shore in Long Branch.
Do you have the renderings that you showed the planning board with the different styles?
I have that board, I think we do.
Yeah, I think that would be advantageous to the council.
We had a color one that we had on the board. I apologize for
Oh,
not
that's
that
okay,
one, but.
but I just wanted to, so they see that they're different.
This is the elevation and streetscape if you were on sea view. So this shows the different styles of homes all along sea views.
We're dealing with roof line and gables and gambrels and different architectural features, so there's five different elevations. And then we were gonna use different colors to, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's right, and then this would be the view on Ocean Terrace, where you have the 5 homes. And this is along Ocean Avenue, and the architect paid a lot of attention to that. Even though Ocean Avenue is not the front doors to these buildings, they still spent a lot of time articulating the elevations on that side to make them look like they were fronting on there. Yeah, go ahead.
These are single-family homes.
Yes.
So you're here this evening just to make the presentation at this point?
Right, and then to ask for your green light so we can proceed with finalizing the redevelopment agreement and getting to the planning board.
Any questions? Other questions? Katie?
No?
Joy? Dr. Sally?
I'm fine.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
So it's going to get to report it out.
Okay, so we're moving on to the review of the regular meeting agenda. Kate, do you have any questions?
No, I don't.
Joy?
No.
Dr. Selly?
No, Mr. President, I would like to have you hold out separately on 25617, which is the transfer of budget funds. I'm very concerned about one item on there, and that seems to be the $60,000 that we allocated for demolition purposes, and all of a sudden now it's going to the police uniforms. I don't object to going to the police uniforms, but I thought that someone in the police department knew we were going to get these new people, and somebody should have budgeted for it earlier. And I am unhappy that none of the money was used. Perhaps you didn't have time, but maybe we should think about it when we allocate money to do certain things that should be done for a special purpose as this was. And that's why I'm asking you to hold it separately.
Do you want to comment, Mr. Hayes, what you told me in terms of they're going to move? You're changing the allocation,
Yeah,
where
so-
that funding is coming from.
So Councilman Pallone had questioned me about this afternoon. I met with Mike Martin, Dr. Selly, and it's not the entire 60,000, it was 43,000 of the 60. But we're going to remove that and leave it intact and transfer money in from another source, from a different account, from the operating budget. So it will not affect the demolition account.
Oh, okay. That's better. That still doesn't make me gonna vote for it, though.
Well, that's up to you, man.
But I'm glad you explained it, thank you.
So, Mary Jane, you still want to keep that separate then?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Anyone else? If not, I need a motion to close the public portion of the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, I need a motion to adopt a resolution to go into executive session for the following items: contract negotiations with Stavola, Sika, Pier Village 3, and Long Branch Partners.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Pastelli?
Yes.
Mrs. Billings?
Yes.
Dr. Selly?
Yes.
Mr. Pallone?
Yes. Okay. Yes, ma'am.